Here we are, the final day of the first weekend. It is back to Miramar for us. I'm Lee Demon-Smith, and joining me, as said, is Pansy. And it is a south to north plane, sort of cutting across the southern edge. It may cause a couple of changes, especially thinking like G2 up in El Zahar. It's still relatively open for them. We may see a couple of teams adjusting. Cruz del Val, etc. for like Raise Your Edge. That's a long way to go.
Where are Reciprocity going?
Ooh.
Hold on. This is big.
This is a change. No longer challenging vitality. So it took 2 days, not 2 weeks. As, I mean, let's face it, it wasn't going well. It's the right move in my mind. So
I agree.
It's good to see the change being adapted. You know, they've got their analysts and coaches and probably said, you know, this can't happen. Navi, by the way, also adjusting. They're not Porto Paraiso anymore. They've gone up north.
Okay. Let's just keep eyes across the board.
They're going with La Cabrera. This is Senya, in effect, pulling the old Joker's drops. At all.
Yeah. Look, if they're comfortable, if they feel, the thing I'm glad they mentioned on the desk with Senya, he isn't your heavy fragger, but he's an IGL who can frag. And I think that's very important because you don't want the purist that just can't do it. Even though he did have a bit of a mare on the first couple of days, he's proven in yesterday's games he certainly can deliver on damage and kills.
Yeah, day one he obviously had the damage, just didn't get it killed. Yesterday, those 8 kills, they were all yesterday.
Yes.
He was hitting them all yesterday.
Game.
He had a 6-kill game, I believe, yesterday in one of the matches, which was the one they won against Fatality and Liquid. Fatality?
What game are we in here?
What era are we in?
Yeah, I was about to say, this is even beyond my times almost.
Against FaZe and Liquid.
Look,
Jesus.
Fatality likes PUBG too, so it all works out. But the one thing as well, with playing
He's probably
paths
happy
like
someone
this,
still remembers him.
Look, we're old, it's fine. The one thing I will say about playing paths with that sort of ending, people have worked out roughly, and there's percentage chance, and Navi might have just read that really well as well. And if this is a backup that they've previously used in other teams, or at least members of the team,
maybe in the scrim this morning,
it could have been. It could have been a switch up. This could be something they're working on. And bear in mind, if Reciprocity did start contesting down in that way, maybe thought it's not worth it. Let's go to our secondary. This could work out well.
I'm not sure they expected Raise Your Edge to go into Impala at the same time as well.
Yeah, that's another change. They normally go further north, but you mentioned at the start it is a long way to go all the way up there.
Look at G2. They're still heading up that way now. We're at 250, and they've just about reaching Al Zahar. So yeah, big problems for them. Obviously, that Murado's not used to getting over those hills. The buggy is a little more versatile for it. But the circle is a fairly standard one. We've seen this umpteen times. It has actually finished with the Knights were multiple times as well throughout Phase 1. So expecting similar types of plays stacking up in and around Power Grid area.
Yeah, and I want to see, for me, I'm looking at, obviously, Navi's rotations, how they come in, because they have the entirety of the north. Do they set up on the border? Do they go central? I'm still learning what this team really likes to do. What is their style here? Because it seems like it changes a little bit. You've still got that influence from the other teams coming together, and so far, it's been that honeymoon period. To say the least, did Gustav just do a flip?
The main thing
Gustav,
for me...
Did you just do a flip?
With Navi,
he's
just doing styling in the background.
I'm happy.
Well, on camera. The main thing for me with Navi is, we're seeing them reaching those final circles, which never used to happen. Like they were getting caught out in rotation. So instantly, Senya's effect has changed the rotations, which is brilliant because they have the players, once they're in those final sections, first final phases, that are totally capable to take the game by the scruff of the neck and win it. And we saw that yesterday. I mean, they're the only team that's got 2 wins so far. They're second in the table. I don't think even they could have thought this is going to start so well, because if you heard the interview, they were like, we're about 7 out of 10 right now. It's going to take a couple of weeks to get going, which is, a realistic start. Sure, bit of a honeymoon period. We'll see how it develops over the weeks, whether people stay happy with one another.
Yeah, we didn't get to touch on this yet, and it's also the fact of a new pro league and living together with each other and the kind of dynamics socially that can happen to a team. During the honeymoon period, everything feels great, everything feels new, there's no arguments. And then eventually, you're living in each other's spaces, you're close by, these are your work, and live with these people that can rub each other up the wrong way. But that's all beside the point. In the game at the moment, we are seeing the early scouts looking for ideal positioning. A couple of teams now shuffling towards that very centralized area. And the other team I want to look at is Liquid. They're not normally a team that I critique or have to worry about, but I think their rotations, circle play, it's been rough for them, but they haven't been able to adapt as well as
nice.
as well as other teams, in my eyes, which is surprising because we know Liquid can. That's the thing.
I think what it is, right? I had a chat with James earlier while I was having food, so we had a good chat between it, and I was talking about how, you know, Miramar is just, obviously it used to be Liquid Mar, right? And Miramar's their thing. We said the problem is, if the circle goes northeast, they are absolutely screwed. It's such a tough move for them. But we haven't really had northeast circles yet. It's been south circles. So that can't be used as an excuse. But the problem is that teams have looked at how they played in Phase 1, moving early, 4 minutes, 4:30, getting into center. We've seen DA and CrowCrowd doing the exact same thing, and they were the people they were clashing with, and Unity as well, all sort of clashing. So they're all going for this center point, but they're finding, hang on a minute, there's 3 other teams doing the same thing, and they're getting caught off by it. So they're effectively being caught out by being not counter-stratted, but just people using their own tactics.
Exactly, and it's what happens. That is the meta that we'll continue to see throughout this, is one team will set a precedent that everyone will eventually go, oh, that's what's working.
That worked, yeah.
We're going to do it as well. We'll find our own spin on it because someone else came up with it. We can then adjust to our own style. It works very well, and now it's, you know, Ball and Liquid's court to a smaller degree. They're still a very good team. They're individually phenomenal in nuanced mechanical ways, in the kind of 2-2 splits they pull off. They're great. I don't think anyone's saying that they're not great. I think they just need to be careful to not just get into habits that they hope will just eventually work out. They need to be very, very creative, and I'm sure we'll see that. It may not happen now. It might take this week for them to be able to review, look over, and try and adjust going forward. Or maybe they just hope the circles just stop screwing them.
Well, of the 4 games so far, you know, they've had the 3 where they've centered up and they've lost 3 members early on. You know, game 1, obviously they got picked off and sniped left, right, and center. The other 2 matches, and then game 4 yesterday. The 4th match, what I'm saying, is on Miramar. When we thought they were camping FaZe Clan, they weren't. They just weren't happy with their loot, that they'd gone out Picardo, so they'd gone to those little extra warehouses. There's plenty of spaces around there. And then one thing led to another. They took shots on FaZe. Someone lost their bike or something like that. And then it just trickled away from them. They're 16th again. So it's just little plays like that need to watch what's happening. Vitality, remember, they've had Minis Generals themselves, so they've finally rotated.
This is it. So for me, this is going to be very telling of what caliber, because I don't think we've seen the caliber really of Vitality and Reciprocity without that horrible early battle. I don't think anyone doubts these two as individual teams.
I mean, 16 kills for Natus, please.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure they're all Reciprocity.
Yeah, I'm almost certain. I'm almost certain. They may have caught maybe 1 or 2 down the line, but the vast majority will be them. For me, this is going to be very telling of what caliber we see from these 2 teams when they aren't doing that initial battle. It may not show completely in this game. We all know it happens. Sometimes you just get screwed on circle or a team just catch you. It can happen. But I want today to be a telling display of these teams aside from that. Because I don't think we've seen the full strength of Reciprocity when they get to the late game. When they get mid-game, it's been very rough. Same with Vitality, because obviously they'll be losing out on the way there.
I like what GT is doing. Remember, they start out over at El Azahar. They've waited late, sat on edge, and now they're heading all the way around the north and sort of trying to come in from that La Cabrera side. I'm not too sure if they realize that maybe Navi went up that way, so they're not going to have that information because it's definitely a change. Samty just getting back on his feet. He'd been down. So we should get up there. We'll see, of course, you know, we saw some serious circle shifting yesterday, so it could make a big difference. Reciprocity could be laughing, it could swing south. They're coming in deep south at the moment, sort of just to the edge of Kumisera. And the circle will be adjusting in just a moment as everybody postures still. Nobody down, no first bloods. Vard was looking for it, but didn't find it on Jeeves.
Yeah, all knock and no kill. So, but you can see what's happening here. There's so many teams in this area. You got the Knights, Unity, Team Liquid. Hey, no hard shifts. It's going to be fine. Alrighty, this is great. So G2 gets to play a wonderful game for them. Stylistically, this works perfectly. They love edge game. They've been given the perfect edge to work in on. They can do whatever they want. They can lock down the north of this. They can play however they please. TSM not too bad either. The teams who are screwed were the really centralized ones that now need to shuffle in. They need to try and find that route. It was all that Team Liquid surround. They can go southeast, but there's not much there to fight over, really. There'd be too many teams catching each other on rotations. And then you're going to look at the ones who are going all the way around the west as well. Your M19, your Reciprocity, potentially Team Liquid, and CrowCrowd. So a lot of these teams could be crossing each other's paths. We might see 1 or 2 caught off on those rotations.
And ENCE are going for a big swing. And
Gax is in trouble.
They may... Oh, he's dead. Okay. Yep. That was quick. And look who it is that got the first kill. He's like, yay, it's somebody other than Reciprocity I killed. See that, guys? Did you see that? I shot somebody else. So that puts him on 17 kills, by the way. He's way up there at the moment. Drayden getting a good old shot. NIP in all sorts of trouble here. That's not looking good for them. Can they get away with it? Jazz has been caught out meanwhile by TSM. Drayden continuing to pepper that NIP car, but they won't manage to get anyone else down from it. It must be pretty heavy hit. Yeah, black smoke coming out, so got to be careful. If they're going to run into anyone else, I think they should be safe unless they keep going into Navi.
Yeah, this is really good for the teams who like to play Edge at the moment. They get to catch so many individuals coming through. We already saw TSM, who got kind of gifted the edge of that circle already, to be able to capitalize on that very swiftly. Same with Vitality. They moved up quickly, claimed a little edge position, caught a couple en route. So this is quite good for them. It's quite fun to watch. I think they've suffered in the process, but still, this is, looking at the West here, we're going to see those longer teams coming in as well.
Well, I mean, look, you got the East, you got Unity and Raise Your Edge going way around the East. Down the South, you have DA, ENCE, Reciprocity, M19. Honestly, you know, what they're doing is looking for that free space, that edge space that you can come in cleanly.
NIP,
Ironically, if you just
Navi.
went directly in Monte Nuevo, that's where you'd find the space.
Look at this position from Senya and Bestelodge. This is really nice. Actually, Senya's been humbled here. He's going to have to fall back off this, maybe get a heal off, maybe keep the pressure up, however he wants to play it. Him and Bestelodge have a good spot to allow the other two to play onto this
flank,
hill.
yeah.
They're pushing it as well. They want to dominate this space. They do not want... Oh, look at those shots from Bestelodge. That is so well played. Denying the peak, allowing the other players to now move up. This is a doozy, and Pokemolodoy, it's going to be nades already. Everyone's going to go. That knock on Miraku should be the go signal. Luxury is perfectly giving away the position, but it bounces too far.
Yeah, but nowhere to go for you. He's having to pull away from the ones on the right and the left. Yeah, no chance for him. That's going to be NIP down to 1 with Miraku already down, and obviously they lost the one in the car rotation. MDS, the last man standing. There they go. NIP gone. Inside 12 minutes in game 1. Not the start they were looking for coming out of San Martin, which you can see is just on the screen. It wasn't too far away.
Yeah, for me, this is, again, Navi having that perfect synergy and having comms up on 10 out of 10, not 7 out of 10, as they said. You had 2 players on Overwatch, keeping tabs on everything there, denying angles of peaks and fallback plans for NIP. And you have Pokemolodoy and a doozy just rushing up, getting in there. Really good, assertive play, dominating the area they've chosen to keep. Obviously, they did have Circle, but they're not the only ones who've been able to get into these battles. There's a lot of other teams now working their way in.
Yeah, Digital Athletics and ENCE, we're talking about the Southern Swing. They're actually taking a gunfight right now. They're outside in the blue and taking shots on one another. Meanwhile, another team that was coming in, Raise Your Edge, are getting lit up by TSM. Wookie Bookie's found himself one. The circle shrinks. It goes, well, down to the southeast. Navi now find themselves on the edge, and the Knights are happy. Looks like, are they going to get Menox up there? I don't know. That's a tricky one for Sigsy. It's pretty much an alleyway that they're shooting into.
Yeah, really uncomfortable revive, but they're committing for it, keeping 4 alive. Such a primary concern. And it's still danger times here because they're just a one-shot until they get that heal off. It looks like it's vehicle time potentially. I'm not sure what the plan is for Raise Your Edge because they are just pinned into this.
Yeah, Gustav's continuing that one. Look at this. Michael's on the move. Michael's flanking them. So Michael's moved over to the left side edge of your screen right now. Rory's going to join him. So if you panned over to the left, you'd see they're coming in above them. So they're going to look to try and get into some sort of grenade range on the roadside. There you go. Michael's coming in. He's looking to move up. Rory's going to push up. They've got themselves the road edge. Meanwhile, we've seen FaZe Clan going down, losing Uber in the kill feed there. CrowCrowd catching them on a rotate into the circle. FaZe are coming straight into the Knights. This is not a good place for them.
No, and they're not going to stop on this, so they have to just keep going here. They know they're in danger. They're going to get anything they can, and at the moment, the shack is about it. TSM have continued to pressure Raise Your Edge, and it's not going too nicely for them. Car goes, and as does one of the FaZe players. They're losing out onto just getting into this tiny compound that so many people are already looking towards, and TSM continues to apply pressure. Raise Your Edge are done for. We saw that position was very, very bad. It was very, very rough for them. They didn't really have much more to write home about. Yeah,
Chris, the last man, I think, making a run for it, heading out the back side of there. DA, ENCE continuing to come in, this time towards CrowCrowd. That's down the south side of the circle, while TSM continue to track down the surviving members of Raise Your Edge. And you can see Chris has made a run for it out the back. He's gone clear until he reaches Vitality.
I'm worried about old FaZe rotations. That's what terrifies me here. They've gone central, but it's such a risky play.
Reciprocity rotations. Let's talk about that. They've gone 360 around the map.
Well, for me, I don't mind them doing this. If you want to talk about what hard shifts do to teams who are playing on the outskirts, once that circle cuts through kind of a centralized position, so where Navi, M19, Liquid, I say central, more of a central position, you know it's going to be so filled on that side, they can't enter from that western side, otherwise they're done for. So them shifting over to the east is probably a smarter play, and I think they know that. This is them going on long rotations, and it plays well to their style. I do not mind it at all.
Look at this setup the CrowCrowd have got. They've got 3 in the compound, right? The set is up on the hill to the left-hand side. They have a really nice crossfire setup for them. As long as he doesn't get taken down, obviously there's no support for him. Senpai very confident up on the top there, taking shots down onto Iroh in that smoke. Not a lot he can do. As you can see, ENCE also taking shots on him. Look, they're set in the distance. You can just see him in the hillside. So everybody trying to get involved, tossing the nades down low, seeing if they can catch hold of Mert as well. Maybe towards a beautiful death. I think it's a little out of range.
It's a rough spot for DA, isn't it? They're just really lacking cover, and they're just kind of caught in this ditch, and ENCE are going to have their way with them. Once that blue keeps moving in, pushing them all closer, they're going to lose down players. They don't have infinite smoke, and it looks like it will be...
Kemba.
No, it wasn't ENCE. I thought they might have had that one, but it was Kemba.
Oh, and it's another hard shift, ladies and gentlemen, down to the southwest this time.
Reciprocity are not happy. Hack said he just died to the blue as well.
Yeah, they've just got to keep on driving. They're coming in backside of Unity. Rafi looks like he's going to come straight to G2. They're all staring his way, so he's looking towards that one. ENCE and DA. ENCE now need to push into DA, come down that hill, so they kind of have to take this fight. Meanwhile, Vitality, they're looking for an angle to take as well. They may get involved. CrowCrowd, while this is all happening, CrowCrowd have made a great move, leapfrogged across in towards set. So now DA, ENCE, Vitality, they're all going to get completely gatekept by CrowCrowd now.
Yeah, and keep in mind where this circle now moved to, it's got a huge open field in it, which basically means that is no-go zone. I'm worried about where these teams go. There isn't that much playable area here. It's very, very open, so the teams that are already in these positions are going to reign supreme. Unless there's going to be compound crashes, it's going to be done for. Navi are under threat, though, from G2. That is a very big battle, and M19 are not far away.
Yeah, that might be a three-way battle on the left-hand side. You can see on the minimap, M19 passing on by. They may get involved. Kane will deal with Bestalosh. He gets down, so Navi down to 3 as they look for one of their members in the hills. It's Chris that's trying to get closer. Meanwhile, hello, Rafi catches Brexco in the back, so Reciprocity finally getting involved and finding someone other than Vitality.
Yeah, the answer was swift though from Chris. Rafi's not got away with anything. Scoom and Shiv were so far behind they could not help out. And we are seeing the nades come through. Navi still hold the line. They have got Senya in the circle, so he is still safe to a lesser degree. Reciprocity could leapfrog ahead of G2
Look at
here.
TSM are going for it. They're going to run the risk. You can see them in the picture-in-picture. They're all 4 in vehicles going between Vitality, the Knights. Then they're going to pull up. There's going to be ENCE going to take shots at them in a CrowCrowd. There's nowhere to go. They're going to find this little ditch just next to ENCE and maybe hope that they're safe.
Yeah, we are seeing Navi, though, suffering at the hands of G2. The top 2 teams battling it out at the moment. Senya trying to stay alive, and they have kept him in this one. Aduzi still stands, but G2 have 3. Chris, Kane, and Co. all looking for the way. Nice shots from Senya. Good tags there. Gonna maybe slow down the process, but Jeem stealing onto Scoom, and Reciprocity have gone down in 15th. I've got to say the hard shifts were rough on them there. I like the theory they had, but sadly that other circle, they were banking on it not happening, and you can't plan for the good to always happen to you.
Battle between the top 2 looks to be going G2's way, but Senya has found himself open ground to take shots on G2 here. Aduzi's moving, he sees her on the left-hand side. Senya, we're talking about the in-game leader. He is not a slouch when it comes to doing the damage and hitting the kills. And now, Adia, you're going to go down as well. He may well not fire this time around. Aduzi will surely catch him as soon as he comes into that corner. Meanwhile, M19, we saw them passing by. They've been finished off, I believe, by Team Liquid,
Senya's
catching them in the field.
Yeah, Senya just got spotted by Liquid, who've been hearing this fight go on the entire time. Now, FaZe have caught a little bit of what's going on, but that's over to the other side of things. Eventually, we have seen Senya go down, so this could be Navi down to their last player here, Aduzi. As Senya's bleeding out, he can't do anything, and neither can Aduzi, really. He's in that kind of constant battle, holding the other player back from G2. And it's time to push. She times it well with a hip fire, but this might have just cost him his life. Last first aid going through, but the circle will close soon. And he needs to run, and Kane's already there, so they already have a man in. G2, even if it's one man, might have just beaten out Navi in this one.
Does he manage to get any meds off that one? FaZe just finished off Vitality. They moved into a similar ditch position. That circle shrink will cause problems for FaZe. They need to squeeze in. The Knights, Unity all need to push in behind them. ENCE got to squeeze onto Digital Athletics, the other side of the road, so they're going to make that play while we watch Kate. He's just camping out Aduzi and seeing if he comes over the brow of that hill.
Aduzi can't make it in this blue. There's no way. He might have picked up some meds off the other player from G2, but I don't see him making it much further. He's going to have to just heal in the blue here.
Team Liquid are getting ready to go.
They are, and we have to remember here, we did want to look at what happened with Reciprocity and Vitality, and both of them are eliminated outside of the top 10. So again, they are probably not used to playing this late game.
It's the first time they got a chance to do it, really. I mean, Vitality have had a couple of chances, no doubt, but as you mentioned, the circle shifts in has been pretty harsh this time around. 6-5 squeaky, that's the battle in the fields between DA and ENCE while we see the Knights. They're ready to go. Snark is going to get past the wall this time. Now he's going to go down. Are they going to push straight into FaZe, I wonder? Is that the risky play they want to go for?
God.
They're going to try it. They're going to try and go straight through, pull up with the smoke. You're going to get gunned down instantly. First FaZe peeks around the side, backs away from the nades, tries to get involved. Now he needs to find the last man that's got actually inside their shack. Has he got a nade to underhand inside there? Wanted to pop one out the window. There's another one gone round.
He's
First takes a big old hit.
He's dodged his own nade! Oh,
no.
FaZe! His own nade!
Well, we heard Dave asking the questions, have you killed yourself with your own nade? Well, FaZe has the answer right there, and that's FaZe gone. Down to the Knights, or down to themselves, I'm not sure which. ENCE made the rush across the road. They managed to make it. They've leapfrogged onto DA, but they've leapfrogged straight into a hail of bullets. Team Liquid also pushed into the fields while that was happening. M19 has still got two consolidated
dancing
together.
in the blue right now.
Unity and Winstrike going at it right now. That's going to be hopping over the walls.
Yeah, a doozy's dead. There goes Navi, but they held on well considering they got completely destroyed in that G2 Reciprocity horrible battle. This one is waiting for the nades, and they begin to rain down.
Nookie phones blast on. You can see they're continuing down the hillside. The Knights want to get a piece of this as well. They're moving in, trying to see if they can get any of those side shots. Digital Athletics fall. They were trying to cross the road straight to CrowCrowd. CrowCrowd's move may well have won them certainly a decent portion of points here. Making that move early on while ENCE and DA fought. It was available for anyone at the time. Wanted finds Tizerin. Tizerin answers back solidly there. And Wanted absolutely battered down as Unity desperately tried to scurry around this hillside, but it's straight into the arms of the Knights.
It is, and look at that kill feed right now. Drayden and Wanted just clearing up as they go. Winstrike at the final boss, but here comes TSM. And this is a middle of the pack sort of game. We've got that kind of outside of the top 4 position. Everyone's still kind of standing that bigger chunk of it. With the Knights going down, though, this bodes well for your likes of TSM, your ENCE, your Liquids. These sort of teams that really want to start pushing towards that top 4, top 3 spot. This could be a big game for them.
And this is a big battle, because if Winstrike or TSM come out on top, they're going to hold the mountain. And that is a big overhead position on both CrowCrowd, Team Liquid, and M19. They're all down low. Winstrike finds Wookie there, so that's Nookie on Wookie. Yes, indeed. I went there. Rory and Gustav, they've backed away to their little shacks on the roadside, so Winstrike are going to hold the hill.
Briefly trying to play patiently.
Oh, that's a risky move, Konstantin. He's trying to go for the crate, which is right near CrowCrowd. Meanwhile, we're seeing Tripoli. He's going to go for it. He missed his shots there. That's the tap that's right in front of him. Can he manage to land the head? He's trying to peek around the side. Will manage to catch him, so Tripoli will survive. Tamp was a long way from the rest of his team, so he's going to be able to flush that one and get the first point, the first kill point at least, for ENCE as they're in the top 6.
Yeah, but look at Rory and Gustav's position. They've been waiting for Winstrike, but have they waited too long? It's just Rory on his own. He can get outnumbered. He can get swarmed. He's going to take one with him, but the support was too far away. They could not trade it effectively. And Rory is going to slide away down the hill as Winstrike will be able to get that man up, Gustav's I can imagine. Gustav's on the way, but this might be a little too late here for me.
Yeah, he actually took out Tripoli at the same time, so Gustav was distracted, picking out the last snake, so ENCE go down in 6th. That gives them certainly the positional
good
points. The nade is massive! Catches all 3 of them! Can't get Tixu down low! Almost got the quad.
That was the perfect nade. Gustav just beasted that, but Tixu stays alive. But look at the walking wounded, or crawling wounded, should I say. They will be able to be picked up. No one's close enough by to challenge. They control the east. Team Liquid hold down the north, and the west still has 2 teams fighting for this.
So because CrowCrowd were distracted with Tab going down to Tripoli, they pulled out of their compound, and it's actually allowed Konstantin to sneak in. I don't know if they realize he's gotten so close. The C Elite player with a Mark 14, by the way, out there. That's not a good to be mess around with. He manages to duck back down. Team Liquid have just snuck forward as well. They've managed to get through the hay bales. James and Ibby have separated themselves. They're within close range. Elite player will be finished off. Konstantin pops, gets 1, gets 2, just flushes it. No, couldn't get Kemba down. Kemba will finish him off. That's M19 in 4th. Team Liquid, they use this to move.
Yeah, we know they love aggression. This is the Liquid we're waiting for. Get final circle, get that last couple of circles in your side, and then start going on it. The problem is, if they are not warmed into this, Kemba's got a great angle. He's going to relay information to Senpai. How is Jeeps getting that shot through? That is disappointing if you're Senpai. That should have been your moment. You had the angle, but that hipfire coming in was incredibly strong from the 2 players. Kemba still stands, but Liquid hold the compounds. They hold the cards. Winstrike do have good position on circle, though.
And that move, if they didn't make it then, they wouldn't have been able to make it. Because now look at Winstrike position. They've got in position to look over the brow of the hill. So that push that Jeeves and Ibidish did to get that compound has maybe just won them the game. We'll see where the circle goes. It goes onto Winstrike. All right, okay, onto the hillside. It does mean that Gemty and Samty are in there. The I think it's a grain bin or whatever you want to call that thing is also inside. So now it's all on the hillside. They have to deal with Kemba still behind them.
That's the big one, right? You got to remove him so then you can focus on the other team. Potentially it could be stolen from them, but they don't really care who gets the points. Kemba is just going to be the biggest pain in the ass he can be to these guys, as they just basically ruin CrowCrowd's chances of pushing further here. Bit of a misread of information, maybe feeling he's closer than he was, but Kemba gonna look for another way forward. Winstrike can set up in the meantime, though. They literally have a perfect ridge to play from. I do see a mini on Jorski, and I'm not sure what the others have, but I'm sure they have some range. Yeah, minis galore. So if Liquid win this, it is the most uphill battle. I do not see vehicles close enough to them that they wouldn't get pressure yet, but maybe there's something hidden around, but this is so rough for them. There's almost no cover for them to run to. Unless they can get to the foot of the hill, somehow, I do not see this happening. But if they have, you know, maybe M24s, Car 98, something to get that one knock potentially and that one shot knock, then they could work from it. But otherwise,
he's trying to spray himself a run to maybe run across, but obviously with Winstrike on the hill, he's maybe trying to fake it as well here as well. Having a little peek across the side, but we can see shots not going to work out for him. The blue is going to bite as he tries to move across. Tixu ready and waiting. Is gunning down. It's Ibi that stole the kill.
Gemty's moving. This is nice. So this is them trying to get to the foot of the hill, potentially deny line of sight. So Ibi and James might have to bait this, and that's exactly what they're doing. They need to try and keep eyes away from Gemty and Samty. They're their fallback plan. They're the last line of defense here. James is just committing here, and that's all he can do. They found a little bit of a dip to try and get themselves in. That is in the new circle. Gemty and Samty might be able to get a pickup, and it looks like Winstrike are completely unaware that they've done this. I thought Tixu or maybe Jorski could have spotted them, but that seems to not be the case.
No, Gemty got himself a crate there as well, so I don't know what he got. The brothers are coming.
Show us Gemty, please.
Fin-on-fin action about to happen as Gemty and Samty about to go over the brow of the hill. Ibi and James were the pure distraction force. They've distracted long enough. They're about to come straight in, but right into the crosshairs of Timmy. He was ready and waiting for them, and it was just a